Hello everyone and welcome for another video of Love and Wargames. In this video we will showcase our newest Union fleet that just arrived to 2000 points of Union, invading the theater of war that we've been playing on for a while. And to defend we have two players. First we have Zongo, who will play
Russian Commonwealth.
very well with some old Spartan miniatures, also very cool, and some new ones obviously. And we also have
Vengeresse,
who will play with the latest orbit of the Alliance. How do you feel about this new orbit?
very excited.
Yeah. So he will play with the 3.02 orbit for the Alliance, and we will actually play test the rules for 3.03 for the Commonwealth and the Union. By the time you watch this video, it's probably going to be released, but just notice that some rules might still be updated. Should not be updated anymore, it's in the final stages. Just know that there might be some changes. Here we are. We will first things have a look at the scenario and the story behind this battle right now.
After the debacle of the Commonwealth Loyalists during the uprising of the new St. Petersburg, a second force was sent by the Tsar to first establish an outpost and then to reclaim the Russian territories stolen by Admiral Stolyarenkova's White Flotilla. While the Commonwealth Loyalists established a few naval outposts and island garrisons at the westernmost of Archipelago Alpha, they also signed a treaty with the French survivors of the Flotte Vengeresse, led by Admiral Devilleneuve, united that they were in their common hatred of the White Flotilla. While the European forces of Task Force Mordred were fighting the Prussians and the Covenant, Commonwealth Loyalists and the French Flotte Vengeresse thought that they had time to regroup. They were wrong. Long-range French Levant patrol suddenly went silent, far west of the Archipelago Alpha. A new superpower had entered the fray. The entirety of the American division of Task Force Mordred, smelling opportunity, was launching an invasion of the western territories of the archipelago. Planning to take control of the naval stations built by the Commonwealth Loyalists, the Union Armada of Task Force Mordred split into two forces, one flanking flotilla led by the Constitution-class battleship USS Grudge Settler, and the main one led by the Enterprise-class fleet carrier USS Oathbearer, commanded by Fleet Admiral Flowers. Scrambling to protect their lands, the Commonwealth Loyalists sent most of their fleet into battle, led by the Partusov-class battleship known as the Mikhail Kutuzov. Simultaneously, the French deployed several cruisers and battleships, including an experimental Richelieu-class Oriflamme, as well as the personal flagship of the Admiral de Villeneuve himself, the Magenta-class Levant battlecruiser known as the Fleur de Lis. This titanic clash would determine the final fate of both the Flotte Vengeresse and the Commonwealth Loyalists, and whether the Union would be a major player in the war for the Archipelago Alpha.
And now, before we analyze the lists and the deployments, this scenario we are going to play in salvage rights, which means there are 6 objectives on the map. As we can see here, 3 of those. You need to have a ship within 3 inches of the objective, and then at your next activation, there will, in the special operation, you will throw a dice, and there is a chance that you gain some points. Here is another 2 objectives, and this little island here also count as an objective. So it's not just destroying the enemy fleet, it also is about capturing the objectives and making sure you survive long enough. Now let's have a look at the lists. Let's go, Steve, what do you have?
Alors, aujourd'hui, on va voir une unité de Charlemagne, parce qu'on se posait beaucoup de questions sur leur capacité offensive vis-à-vis des chevaliers. Donc du coup, on part sur 2 Charlemagne avec double Hitlance, les tourelles sur les côtés, avec pour le coup, alors, un générateur Shroud, un générateur magnétique. Et ensuite, on va aller sur la version nommée de l'Oriflamme qui va être aujourd'hui le Richelieu. Donc on va voir un petit peu ce que ça donne avec Hitlance 7 et les petites tourelles de torpilles. Donc ensuite accompagné pour le coup de 4 écuyers en attach unit.
Vas-y.
Et effectivement, dans une deuxième Battle Fleet Levant, on part sur une arrivée stratégique avec le magenta, full Hitlands, avec Hitland 7, le petit générateur Solex qui va bien, et le furieux qui est pas attaché pour le coup, avec de double Hitlands et un petit gun.
Okay. And now the Commonwealth half of the defenders.
Okay, so for this game, I really wanted to play my two big robots. So this is Kirill and this is Vladimir. So these are my latest painted models, and I really wanted to play them. So, well, we'll see what they do on the game board, but hopefully they'll kill a lot of Americans. And for the rest of the fleet, I essentially tried to mend for the weakness of my allies. So we wanted a source of fortunes of war, so I brought the Bactruzov. Which will be named the Mirai Kutuzov for this game.
Mm-hmm.
I also have two aircraft carriers. So a little Pravda aircraft carrier, which is a bit shitty, but yeah, well,
it's a nice model.
It's nice model. So
we
I
hope they'll
wanted
get
to
to
play it.
boost the support carriers
And
eventually.
a really nice model as well with the old aircraft carrier from Spartan Games.
Mhm. So the Mozaïski.
The Mozaïski, yeah. So well, we'll see what it does.
Okay, so the deployment is quite separated. We have one force here and one force there.
And last
but
but not
yeah,
least,
oh,
our
not least.
very important squadron. I have two frigates there.
Yeah, two
which
boyards.
will hopefully take this objective on the second turn.
On the Union side of Task Force Mordred, we have two battle fleets, one frontline, one support. The frontline will be led by this Constitution class, the USS Grudge Settler. He has a little escort token, will not be very useful, but it's cute. And it's always good. We have one squadron of two Reliant monitors, very cheap, and hopefully they will help enough the Grudge Settler to capture these objectives in front of the Richelieu and the Partusov. That might be a little bit difficult, but we'll see. They will eventually have support from this squadron of 3 Yorktowns. I know I built them as the Lexington, but I didn't have the points, so they're gonna be just 3 Yorktowns with heavy gun batteries, of course. One little escort as well. And here, leading the second battle fleet, we have an Enterprise class carrier housing Admiral Flowers for the Union because she likes beautiful formations. This one is gonna be the USS Oathbearer, and it has a California class support ship that is going to be attached. He's also going to have an aerial escort. Very well. Here we have one squadron of 3 Washington missile cruisers. Very efficient ships, hopefully, like expensive but efficient, we hope. Also with Akron aerial token that will allow them to have extreme range on their aerial attacks, including their missiles, obviously. Let's continue. We have here one squadron of 8 Farraguts, very small and fast little frigates. Hopefully they will be able to slalom between these terrains and capture the objectives. And finally, one squadron of 5 robots. These are Patriot automatas, very nice looking models, all information, making their little dance. We call them the GNU squadron, and they are very fast, and hopefully they will take care of the 2 boyards and they will control these objectives. That's it for the deployments. The Union had the initiative, but they decided to hold their nerves, getting another precious card, and thus the defenders will play first. So we played the first couple activations. The Pravda went here, shooting some rockets on the Reliant, doing nothing, and he put 4 SRS token, all of it, on this Yorktown. The Enterprise stayed a little bit hidden, so he's not going to shoot. He's going to put 1 SRS token on the Mozaïski, and all the rest, because of the launch catapult, he can throw them at 45 inches, which is good. All the other tokens are going on these 2 Boyar. One of them has 5 SRS token, and the other one has 4. Okay, first big activation of this game. These 2 Charlemagne went forward, linking all their firepower and shooting on this little guy. They are barely in range and declaring heavy firepower. They declared with a card at 20 points. I counted with a card at at 21, which is fine, but they used 4 Valor, made an explosive roll, and kept their card very well. Now, what they did, they have 2 hit lances and 4 torpedo turrets, and thanks to the new rules, which is coordinated support, they now have first hit lance at long range, okay, +3, nothing change, and they can add for each torpedo turret 2 dice, which is their crippled value, to this pool. So these dice gain devastating, hazardous, everything. So 4 turrets, it makes all of this. And now that we know coordinated support, another thing that was interesting is there was a nerf to Obscured and Shield. My Constitution, the Grudge Sailor, has a shield, but it is also obscured because they barely see him. However, I have to choose, do I want him to be obscuring so they don't re-roll explosive dice, or do I want to remove 3 dices because it's mass 3? In this case, I will actually hope that he doesn't make too much explosives, and I will remove 3 dices because I am mass 3. And now, let's see what roll he does.
Pour la France!
Oh no!
C'est ça pour la France? Ah,
c'est stat. 2 explosives. Another explosive. Okay. And that was 16 hits on the nose. Not sure I did the right thing, but because I lost 2 hull points, he has 6 left before he gets crippled, and I got critical navigation lock, and because it is hazardous, I go to the yellow level of disorder. And now the answer of the Union. The 3 Washington missile cruisers with their Akron threw all their rockets at the Mojaiski, doing nothing. However, now all the cruise missile silos at extreme range will rain hell. It's going to be rerolling blanks because of spotter. It is high velocity. What else? There is blast, but there is nothing yet. And it's going to be in total 46 dices. We're rerolling blanks, high velocity. Yeah, let's see what that does. Okay, 46 dices, rerolling blanks, and with high velocity. Okay, so this is what we had in the end. I reroll blank innately, and I already do this quite good. There are 3 explosives that I don't roll additional for because of ablative armor, and there is all this. I tried to use a card at 55 points to reroll everything, but it was countered. They spent 2 expensive cards. They kind of hope I will not cripple the Mojaiski right away. We will see. I will reroll thus the blanks, of course, and the 3 extra explosives. And now we see were they right or not. And this, another explosive. Voilà, là on commence à parler. Okay, so that is a lot. Let's see the defense roll.
So that's
-4 because high velocity means
high velocity.
we only remove 4. Let's have a look if it is a cripple. If it is crippled indeed. In the end, it is 32 points exactly. So it's 4 hull points, twice the Citadel. So that's already 6 hull points lost. It is crippled, this poor Mojaiski, and it now has shredded defenses, which will not help against these little aircrafts. I'm very happy it could not activate at full potential. This was one expensive activation because all this is like one big combo, but it did its job. The Vladimir Colossus is activating. He moved here quite tight, and he's going to shoot on this Yorktown with his very nice converted railgun. That's going to be 18 dices, -1 to the Citadel, and yeah, that's it.
Let's go,
already
Vladimir!
good. Ooh,
Hey, nice shot, Vladimir.
3
Explosives, yeah.
3 explosives. And this poor Yorktown got 3 points of damage with 20 hits and a navigation lock. After this damages on the Yorktowns, I of course decided to activate all of them at the same time. What is going to happen? They're going to link their heavy gun batteries. I declared obviously, what is the name? Give them hell. Everything on this little Charlemagne on the left, I'm going to split into 2 attacks, so 2 times 16 dices, because this little guy here is out of range, he is at long range. So 2 times 16 dices, gunnery and devastating, because of give them hell. And I am going to link all 3 torpedoes, also on this guy, because this guy does not have the angle to shoot on the one in the rear. However, let's remember they have protected submerged hull. Basically, double hits count as single hits. And he has Shroud. Oh, so be it. 16 dices. Ooh,
Pas mal.
good that he has a shroud. This Charlemagne suffered 3 hull points of damage and a reactor leak, which means he has -2 to Citadel and to speed, by the way. Second wave of heavy gun batteries, also fine, should be critical as well. And now the torpedoes, they don't have any bonus, but he doesn't count as obscured with a shroud. He does have his little defenses to intercept torpedoes, and he's more resilient against them. I make 2 explosives, and that's gonna be it. The torpedoes did 1 critical and 1 point of damage. He has 1 hull point left, he has some chances to die with this. And he's going to be, no, a navigation lock. He is still alive, but not very, not very good.
Il flotte à peine.
Our colleague, the Partusov, which real name is...
Mikhail Kutuzov.
Okay, he's going to make 3 attacks of railguns in this Yorktown that has a disorder because he could not repair after give them hell. And then he's gonna put some torpedoes into this guy. Yeah, the torpedoes are really there is very small angle to get the torpedo. No, but it's true, it exists. Okay, so first railgun.
We have 2 explosives.
Oh, putain. Facile ce jeu.
Donc autant critique.
Ouais.
11 points de dégâts.
Okay, so sorry, we lost a little bit about imagining what tactical cavitation actually does. This little guy was crippled, and with a Sturginian flare he went further. Thus he blocked the line of sight to this guy. We thought, what happens then? Are the torpedoes lost or not? And we decided that no, this guy instead is going to take the torpedo salvo. However, thanks to a good defense roll, because everybody supported the little token, and this guy, because he's at 5 inches, but thanks to special rule flashing light lamps, he could contribute, and he countered, especially also because he had tactical cavitation, which made him obscured against torpedoes. And yeah, just a very cool activation, and a very potent activation of the Partusov. No, not the Partusov. The
Mikhail Kutuzov.
Kutuzov. Next activation. First, we just point that the Boyar activated. They sent all their rockets on the Patriots, doing 1 point of damage. And now the Constitution itself, the grudge settler, is going to settle some grudges. It declared give them hell and heavy firepower, which was not countered, on the Kostroma. That is going to be 18 dices. Well, actually have them in the end. So let's film this. And after this, torpedoes also on the Kostroma. 18 dices. Oh, that's not very nice. Yeah, the roll was very bad, so I'm using the support fleet for command override. Hopefully it will be much better. It's not. It is. Yeah, a bit better. The Kostroma has 1 hull point left after everything, because he got 3 points of damage plus a Sturginian flare. And the torpedoes he managed to counter, even if he only had 2 dices of defense. So in the end, fine roll for the little Constitution, the grudge settler, and he had 2 reparations at the end of the activation, so he stays at the yellow and he removes the navigation lock. And now it's the turn of the Richelieu with all its 8 lances. It's gonna be really devastating at closer range, but for now it is fine. For me, it's gonna shoot everything here. 5 dice from the 8 lances, +2 for the 2 torpedoes. And that's gonna be it. 9 dices, devastating and sustained. So it has focus gunnery rerolling the blank and sustained rerolling the single counters. Eh ben...
Comme en reroll.
Ah bah oui, oui.
On peut pas franchir.
Command reroll, yeah. And one thing we forgot, focus gunnery actually gives a +2 dices. So now it's gonna be 11 dices. Vas-y. Sustained and focus gunnery. In the end, the Yorktown got to the black level of disorder with the generator offline, lost 2 hull points, 1 from the damage, 1 from the morale. And yeah, all the aircrafts are closing in. I'm not sure we will finish the turn. In the end of the activation of the Reliant monitors, after the torpedoes and everything, this little guy has 2 hull points left and the generator offline, which is good. It will really degrade his railgun and he cannot do the cryoblast any longer. These 5 guys absolutely obliterated one of the Boyar frigate, and they stayed just out of range to not take the cryoblast of Tyril, the little robot here. who will now activate. And by the way, the Mojaiski also activated, doing 1 point of damage on one of the robot and putting all its SRS token on this California because it is fragile but very helpful. Last normal activation of the turn, Kirill used its railgun, 2 of them linked and killed this guy, like really obliterated him with a lot of explosives, and the big railgun one-shotted this Patriot, so those 2 are going down in flames. That's it for the normal activations. We will now have a roll to see if the Magenta or the Furieux come up. Which one is it now?
The Furieux.
Furieux needs an explosive. Oh, it was very close. And the Magenta, you can roll as well. Oh, I'm scared. No, it's okay. Whew. They will come at the end of the second turn. That is the end of the first turn. We did the SRS attacks. This Yorktown got killed by this, and he also got one of the special damage was an explosion, like a magazine explosion. So this Yorktown suffered 1 point of damage. The attack on this California did 1 point of damage and 1 critical, and he's now at -2 Citadel. And finally, this Boyard died with 9 SRS token on himself. He's really dead. And I had a victory condition that asked to destroy something with SRS attack, which means I got 1 point from this card and a second point because I destroyed the squadron. I am at 2 points for now. For the initiatives, we both spent very expensive cards, but the Union got the initiative. Let's now start the second turn. First activation of this second turn, the Farragut are charging because they were really packed and I didn't want them to all die in a blast. And they are going to focus all their firepower on the Kostroma, trying to cripple him. It's going to be hard, but we will try. They also check this objective, and unfortunately there was nothing precious inside. The Farraguts are charging, and actually the gun batteries are now at 5-3 in support, which means that it's going to be 26 dices, and since they're going to give hell to this Kostroma, it's going to be 26 dices with devastating and then some torpedoes after. That's gonna hurt. And here it comes. There are only 2 explosives that I can roll because of ablative armor. Doing nothing. Let's count. And they did in total 30 hits with their gun batteries, doing like 4 points of damage plus 2 from catastrophic explosion, plus 1 from this explosion, and they did 1 more point of damage with their lethal torpedo launcher, which is just what was enough to kill this Kostroma in a single activation. Wow. Okay, only this guy got a point of disorder because I made counters every single time with 1 dice on all the others, and just this guy made a blank at the end. Yeah, what can I say? When you're lucky, this game is easy. First activation of the defenders. The French are charging and they are linking everything with coordinated support. So there's going to be 1 heat lance in the front, plus 2 heat lance sets here, plus 2 torpedoes linking thanks to coordinated support, plus 4 smaller gun batteries. That's going to be 29 dices with devastating sustain -3 because of the shield. Still 26 dices with sustain and devastating. Should be a double critical. Let's see if it is. Ooh, that's a lot of explosives. Okay, sustained and focus gunnery and even more explosives. Oh yeah, that pains. So that is 9 explosives. And another explosive. And another explosive. Oh yeah. The Richelieu and its escort absolutely devastated the Constitution, doing with all their hit lances with coordinated support and selects everything. 54 hits, so that was 6 points of damage plus 2 points from the catastrophic explosion, and yeah, it crippled him straight away, like 8 points of damage straight, even though he had armor 8, still 16, and shield generator. Woo, that was painful. They tried to make a double activation, and I had to spend 2 cards to counter this Valor effect. And now it's gonna be me again. The Yorktown got their revenge. Of course, they both declared give them hell, so they both gained a disorder token. This guy launched torpedoes and managed to kill the last hull points of this Charlemagne, and then he did a double citadel with give them hell on this second Charlemagne, crippling it, and it has now 1 hull point left. Very good from this Yorktown. And this guy did 1 point of damage with its gun battery on the Kostroma, and yes, the easy is activated now indeed, it's important. 1 point of damage with the gun battery and 1 point of damage with the torpedoes. So very good activation of the Yorktown. Damn, this game became a lot more lethal. The Mojaiski activated, he put all his aircraft on the Constitution, trying to finish it up because it has shredded defenses. Then it did heavy broadside here, doing 1 point of damage. Let's remember it's crippled. And all the rockets on the little Ginyu squadron, but they intercepted it with a very good defense roll. Talking about good defense roll, the Mojaiski did a boarding on the closest frigate doing this, and the other frigate did an absolutely insane defense roll, and there's going to be a counter assault. These brave Americans are boarding the Mojaiski back, and there's going to be 1 point of damage and 1 point of disorder. And now it's the turn of the Constitution, who put all its firepower on the Charlemagne, which was crippled and long range, so not that much, but it was enough. It did give them hell with the heavy gun batteries to make sure to destroy the last Charlemagne and remove 1 activation, which by the way gives me another point of victory. He then did a boarding on the Écuyère and he actually succeeded. That was good, so 1 point of damage on the Écuyère. And now I tried to repair because it's technically at the black. And he repairs 1 thing, so he will just probably stay at the red. No, actually no, he has an aircraft enemy around. Instead, he will go at the black and I will remove shredded defense because this is what I need. The Enterprise activated next, and himself and the California declared full reverse so they don't hit these poor little Washingtons. I did some preemptive movement, sending 10 SRS tokens on the Richelieu because he did me 54 hits. I don't want this to happen again, so I want him to at least be crippled this turn. Yeah, 10 SRS token and more will follow. And then the Partusov came here, he declared valorous conduct and heavy firepower on this guy. I countered with a 52 points card, so he's gonna make 3 times 8 attack of railgun on this Yorktown. And the torpedoes, since this guy has made a tactical convex cavitation, the torpedoes are going to go on this Reliant. We'll make all the shots and have a look at the end. So the Partusov did nothing with its torpedoes on the Reliant, and he made quite a few little hull points of damage, but no critical on this Yorktown. But in the end, with its cryoblast, he did manage to finally cripple him and put him to the red level of disorder. And now the Washingtons activate before the Levant arrive to destroy everything. They're sending everything on this Richelieu. That's still going to be 46 dices, that's a lot. Spotters are rolling blanks, high velocity, so it has less defenses. Let's hope it's going to be good. That's a lot. Let's count and we'll see. No, first the reroll. And because I really want this Richelieu to die, I used a card for the full reroll, first of all. So rerolling all of this. Oh, that's not so good. Do I reroll blanks after full reroll?
No.
No?
It's
une bonne question. Do we reroll?
No, I think you reroll blanks after a command override, but not after a full reroll from the cloud.
Okay. And now 10 explosives, no less. Another 2 explosives. Making another explosive. No, that's it. That is a lot. After 6 dices of defense, which could have been worse but high velocity. After this, it amounts to 56 hits, so that's 8 points of damage plus 2 from catastrophic explosion. So it has 11 hull points in total. It has 1 hull point left on its cripple value. It might die outright, and yes, explosion. So maybe one other. Yeah, the Pravda is going to die. Unfortunately, it's at 4 inches. And unfortunately for the Pravda, probably all the aircrafts will go on the Pravda. And these 2 frigates that were too close were obliterated by the cruise missile silos. That is a very expensive combo. It's like 450 just this plus spotters. But damn, does it hurt. The French finally arrived. The Magenta arrived from this side of the board, came here, did a few heavy rolling broadsides doing 1 point of damage on the Farragut and the Patriot on its left and on the right. And now it's doing 20, I think it's like 21 dices sustained devastating on this Washington here. It is here for revenge. Let's have a look how it goes and then it will declare a boarding on the Farragut. 21 dices sustained.
For Vader.
No.
On la
Bien essayé.
gagnera pas. Dommage.
So they decided to make a full reroll, and was at 46. I did not have the cash to pay to counter it, so it's going to be a full reroll. Here it is, full reroll.
C'est ça qu'on voulait voir.
8 explosives with devastating hit paints, and another explosive that I see. Ooh. I think I might be dead. So this poor Washington in the end was obliterated with all the damages, and he was one shot by this brave Magenta, and who is now going to bravely board this lonely frigate. After checking that they have fray 7 and the Farragut would have 16 dices of defense, the Admiral de Villeneuve wisely decided to not try to board. And now the Patriot proved their worth, actually. They did a very good roll. They did 15 hits. It was sustained and magnetic, so 1 navigation lock, and also the other critical was an explosion, actually, so 3 points of damage on the Magenta. This guy killed himself. Those two have only 1 hull point left, same as the Farragut. And yeah, I'm not gonna try boarding. The Furieux came here, did all its hit lancets plus 1 gun battery that it has on the Washington, but it's not sustained, it was not a great roll. It did 3 points of damage with 20 hits and a navigation lock. Not even enough to cripple it. And last activation of the second turn, these two Reliant went here, did give them hell on the Partusov with, and also torpedoes, doing 1 point of damage with the gun batteries. And they tried boarding this guy with +2 of fray from a card. And actually it was a draw, but thanks to the fighting spirit rule, it was 1 point of damage because it was a havoc. And that's it for the second turn. We'll do the SRS token. There's gonna be a big Pravda attack here, and the Constitution. Let's make the defenses and see who stands at the end. End of the second turn. The Pravda is down, the Constitution has been destroyed as well, which actually puts them to 4th point, and the defenders of the Alliance Commonwealth have the initiative for the third turn. The Magenta activated first, and he put all his firepower on the Washington that used to be here. He one-shotted him, then tried to board this Washington here, and it was like a draw, so disorder on both, and then he repaired his navigation lock. Important activation. The Washington turned here before he dies, and he's gonna put his blast template here and work it as well just after, hoping to wipe them out before they activate and take this objective. They are using 1 card to counter the full reroll that I tried. I did 13 hits. And they also did something, because they have 5 dices, they want to count the explosives as a heavy counter, which will be just a basic counter because of high velocity. And if they do at least 4 counters or explosives, they will survive and thus taking this objective. Important roll, let's have a look. Un plus. Only 1 more was needed. Thus they all die. The brave Farraguts made a funky movement. Remember, they have a cohesion of 5, and they finished off the Mojaiski. Barely, actually. Just at the last whole point. It was not too much, but they, of course, did give them hell. I didn't check, but I will make sure that they all go to yellow. And it was just enough to finish off the Mojaiski. This is going to be the end for them. They activated the Partus of killing the Washington. It made them another point, and they did only 2 points of damage on the Reliant. So now they're out of activation. I'm going to activate these 2 Reliant to try to do some damage to the Partusov, who is already damaged. Same with these guys, I will do some give them hell. And then I will activate these flying robots trying to do some damage on the Magenta, trying to sink it. And at the last activation, I will activate those guys, making a broadside with give them hell, actually, to try to damage the Magenta. And at this point, I will see if there is a chance that I finish the Partusov, or the magenta, and I will send my tokens accordingly. Let's meet at the end of all these activations and before the SRS token activate. Okay. Just something funny that happened while we were rolling the dice. So here it was not enough, he has like 3 whole points left. I decide not to risk it, put all the dice here. One thing funny, the California declared give them hell on its broadside, and this little support cruiser, which has only 6 dices, made this. So that's going to be 20 hits from the California on the magenta, crippling it outright. Never underestimate American supply ships. And in the end, just with the heavy broadside and the rockets that did heavy firepower, the magenta is oh my god, it's going down on us! Yeah, the Admiral Devilleneuve goes down, crashing onto the Enterprise, the Oathbearer. Unfortunately, and this is going to be the glorious end of Admiral Devilleneuve. And now 10 SRS tokens are going on the Furieux. And this is going to be the end. The Furieux with the 30 dice with weight of fire suffered 29 hits. That is going to be for him 6 points of damage plus 2 criticals because of piercing, and one of them was a magazine explosion. So at the end of this epic air battle, the magazine explosion of the Furieux is just blowing up, and the last Levant is sinking into the sea. That is going to be quite a few more victory points for the Commonwealth, military victory of the Commonwealth, but the Russian Admiral survives on its custom Partusov, which is named the
Mikhail Kutuzov.
Indeed.
Indeed,
And
it
is, and is leaving the theater of operation before the might of the American invaders turn upon him. So victory for the Task Force Mordred. We'll have a look at the consequences for the narrative campaign. And this is going to be actually the end of the first season, because we will have some new terrain for the next game. So end of the first season. And we hope you enjoyed it, this first season. The next one is going to be quite interesting. But first, let's have a look for the narrative consequences and the debriefing.
With the destruction of the last of the Flotte Vengeresse ships and the glorious but early demise of Admiral de Villeneuve, the last remaining stronghold of the Latin Alliance in the Archipelago Alpha has fallen. Prince President Louis-Napoleon Bonaparte still has pawns there, as the Alliance detachment of Task Force Mordred still reports indirectly to him. But this is still a grave setback for the Latin forces. Simultaneously, the loss of the beachhead of the Commonwealth Loyalists means that the Tsar will have a very hard time coming back once again in force in the Archipelago Alpha. His forces have already lost too many brave men and women, and he'll have to consolidate his support at home before trying anything again. The Union Armada of Task Force Mordred, in return, landed in force on the western straits of the archipelago. Building a new stronghold at Cape Freedom, they wait for additional reinforcements from America before they can move eastward towards the White Flotilla and the European division of Task Force Mordred. Having lost their naval support, the French survivors of the Flotte Vengeresse moved inland, trying to find shelter from the opposing armies. In this desolate and unknown land, accompanied by some Commonwealth Loyalist ground forces, they have little choice but to hide and wait for help. With the first anniversary of the discovery of the Vortex Alpha fast approaching, the superpowers take a breath and prepare for the next phase of the conflict. After so many battles, the White Flotilla and Task Force Mordred are firmly in control of the lands around Vortex Alpha. The Covenant forces of Makarov, the Imperium's second expedition, as well as the Crown's 5th Fleet, keep pressuring them to gain additional ground, while Admiral Stolyarenkova's allies of the Sultanate wait for Egyptian and Order reinforcements.
So that is it for the first season. This is going to be the end. We hope you enjoyed these videos. The next ones are going to happen very, very fast. First, I'm going to do a few live streaming with some French channels. If you know Dingue de Jeu, have a look, we'll stream there. And then we'll start recording for the second season. So there might be like a month without battle reports, but we will cover all the starter sets, what to build, all the new releases, because there are a lot of new releases, so expect a lot of that in the future. If you liked, always give us a thumbs up, some comments, let us know that you liked, and it helps with the algorithm. And now for the debriefing, what did you think of the new rules? New Russian, new American. It's the first time we have American on our tables, like Union, and the new French especially. Steve will explain in French, and I will at the end make a little sum up of what he says. So Steve, les nouveaux français.
Alors, les nouveaux français, enfin, on peut faire des attaques de réserve. Enfin, le bonus du coordinated support, il ravage tout. Concrètement, 54 touches,
voilà.
Ça fait suer. Après, c'est un gameplay, ça reste toujours un gameplay de glass cannon, c'est fragile. Mais ça devient enfin jouable. Et avec le Susa et avec les Italiens qui arrivent, ça va être encore plus sympa à jouer.
Ouais, c'est clair. So he was saying that at last, it was the last warbird to be released, they have strategic reserve for their Levant battle fleet, which was really necessary. They still have this gameplay of a glass cannon that finally arrived, so that is a very good thing for them. They will have the Susa now, that will arrive very soon, so that will help them to have a solid front line. Even here they were supposed to have the Russian as a solid front line, but it didn't work so good. There was too many carriers, maybe.
I tried.
But he tried his best. And there is the Italians coming very, very soon. I don't know what time you watch the video, but they're coming soon, sooner than later. They are very fun to do, and coordinated support just like slaughters everything in front, like 54 hits for one flagship and 4 escorts. That was a lot. It does need to be at point blank, ideally, but we saw even at closing, like it did 54 hits at closing, not even at point blank. So at point blank it would have been even more for the Richelieu. So yeah, there is a very good faction now. And
Juste une dernière chose, enfin un Oriflamme qui pète.
At last a good Oriflamme. The Richelieu is a very good firepower Oriflamme, and we have the Fesch as well, which is a very good support Oriflamme, which is also what they kind of want to do, giving free rerolls every turn. So that is quite important when you play for the French.
But it's the reserve rules as well that helps you.
Absolutely. What about the new Commonwealth?
Commonwealth probably used to be a bit overpowered faction. So, and on this game I felt weak.
He was like, what's going on?
No, seriously, I felt like I was punched the whole game by the raw firepower of the army.
Yeah.
But no, again, my list was not a good list, dividedly with the Mozaïski and the Pravda.
Which are some of the worst units, unfortunately, for the Commonwealth right now.
I really like the robots, but I always
they're
love the robots.
they're good.
Yeah, but they're cool models, and I think they're really
they're powerful. They're very powerful.
I really like the new way that Invaders works. It's probably better than the previous rules, which was.
And it's still very efficient. We tried it here. It's still good. Like you're like, oh, I'm rolling. No, you're not. Oh.
Yeah, it has an impact. Definitely an impact on the game, but. The previous rule kind of forbid
some depending on the weapon, it could really cancel your firepower.
Yeah, so I think it's better this way. No, I think I would have to learn new ways to play the Commonwealth and not just put your ships and destroy everything because you're better. I think it's good. Good rule.
Commonwealth players will start to learn to play the game.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So we are very happy of these new Commonwealth rules. And about the Union, it's the very first time any of us play against the Union because we didn't have Union players anywhere near us, unfortunately. But now that we try them, they are very good. In this new Arbat, they have basically devastating on their heavy gun batteries and broadside all the time. Because you do get some disorder token, but especially when you start to have ships like the California, which took justified point bump, you have ways to mitigate this. You still, by turn 3, I started to have a lot of units in the red and the black level of disorder. So it is much more powerful than before. Is it overpowered? I don't know. It's like their thing. They don't have anything else as a special capacity.
Maybe it depends what you're facing.
Yeah.
If you're facing, for example, an Imperium player with a lot of Tesla, you will be less willing to.
Or Empire or Chinese.
I don't know.
So it depends what you play against. Like their lists were a little bit weaker, let's say, especially some of their units. I'm thinking of the carrier than mine. So it might felt a little bit one-sided after a while. But I think like against the normal list of the Commonwealth with a lot of Cryoblast and Moskva and all these things and the Richter.
Or a Chrono Plan.
Or a Chrono Plan, yeah. All these things might have played differently. But the Union seems good and fun to us. We've heard that they were a bit underpowered before. Now just with this rule having Devastating, it's good. It's good. It's very fun. Even their little broadsides can be threatening now, so we are very happy. And it's still a risk and reward thing. You do start to pile up disorder eventually.
Maybe a bit concerned about those Washington missile cruisers.
Yeah,
they're really powerful.
Yeah,
and
they are.
You have to be aware that it's
you need to focus them. Kind of like consider them as Augustus for the Imperium. Like you need to focus them first activation.
The same thing, but yet again, the Augustus are only fire armor 5. But the Washington are
but they are much more expensive also per unit.
Yeah, sure. But it feels powerful.
Yeah, they are. But you also can try to intercept. So I think they're in a good spot. But if you have a pack of 3 Washingtons with observer, with an aircraft carrier to give them spotter, it means you have almost like 500. No, if you have a carrier, you are like
points.
Between 600 and 800 points, depending on which carrier you take, which is significant part of your list. Sure. And it's like one combo with blast. So it can be played around, but when you start to play at the larger points game, it does delete one thing per turn for sure. But they can be focused down. Like we saw that when the Levant arrived, they're like, okay, you're dead, one shot, you're dead, one shot. So they are fragile when you manage to focus fire them, but they are for sure a target priority. I also really like the Enterprise. It felt like it was not shot at at all, almost, because it was so solid with its shield generator, and I tried to hide it also. That it just did its job, and 10 SRS token is quite good, especially since it can launch it a bit further away, 45 inches. We saw that sometimes it can be the difference between the enemy carrier not being able to target you, and you can still threaten them. Very good on this.
Yeah, the Yorktown were good as well. Good cruisers with really convenient fire arcs.
Yeah,
and just study,
180 points.
Devastating ordnance. So
good work.
That's what you want from cruiser.
Constitution got focused hard. Like I didn't have time to see him do many things.
Yeah, but it's a good balance.
But it's a good one. It's a good one. Just thinking 2 Yorktowns or 1 Constitution, which has 1 less gun battery. I'm like, okay, the Yorktowns are more fragile, but I think they're priced fairly.
Yeah, I think they're good.
Next time I bring I will bring the dead president next time. I will bring the Mexico.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and of course the Virginia.
I'm much concerned about the dead presidents outside Mexico.
But a whole Mexico battle fleet in reserve, strategic reserve.
Yeah,
might be interesting.
Oh, is it the pipe works?
Pipe works. So sustain on all the arc will be very fun.
We'll see.
Yeah. We hope you enjoyed this video and that it's not too long. I'm not sure if it's past the hour even. If you're watching until the end, again, thank you very much. Give us a like, give us some comment, and we'll see you in the next one. And until then, remember to keep spreading the love all around you. Bye!